Well, let's talk about it, guys. We got Raiders Chiefs coming up Sunday Night Football. Chiefs are coming into town and they're favorites, which shocking to not a lot of people, but 2.5 point favorites as it sits. It's Tuesday night, so who knows how much that can change. But Mello, I'm going to give you the option. You can either talk about the Chiefs, like what's going on with the Chiefs, just your take overall, struggles on offense, or you could just Raiders haven't been that exciting over the last 3 or 4 weeks, so you could touch on some of that stuff if you want. You can make fun of us. Whatever, the floor is yours for either side. So go ahead.
I think to start it, you should probably look at the Chiefs and their struggles. I know that a lot of fans like myself are trying to find like something to be positive about, and now it's turned to the defense, where people have convinced themselves that this Chiefs defense is good because they held Jordan Love to 7 points, and people are very excited about that. Or that you held Daniel Jones to 17 points. People are excited about that. And I don't understand it as a Chiefs fan. I'm probably going to get like kicked out of the group and not be allowed to be a Chiefs fan anymore. But I'm really worried about this team. It really sucks, guys, to be a Chiefs fan right now. I've had a really good time for like 2.5 years, and now I'm watching them play, and it's not even fun anymore. So I'll tell you, I'm worried. I hadn't looked at the odds yet, and I didn't know that the Chiefs were favorites. And honestly, I don't really know why they are. I think Vegas is a really good atmosphere. I know they're coming off of a bad loss, but I would think that they would be the hometown favorite, that they'd get those couple points. But I'm pretty worried about the defense and what's going to happen with, how do you stop Darren Waller? How do you stop Derek Carr? Even that's not something I thought I would ever say, but it turns out that's the case. And, Frank Clark's played well at the end of the last 2 games. I don't know that I'm ready to say he's like good or that like you guys should be worried about him as Raiders fans, but he's been able to get after some of these quarterbacks. It's still just really questionable. I hate the funk that the offense is in. It really it feels like they can't get anything going. And they have a little bit of success running the ball, and then they completely stop doing it. Or, Mahomes will have receivers open deep, and I'm so used to seeing that be completions, and it's not anymore. I know I was watching the Packers game this Sunday, and Tyreek Hill was open deep, and Patrick Mahomes overthrew him. I remember when Chiefs, Twitter and fans, we all used to crack jokes like, is it really possible to overthrow Tyreek Hill? Like, can he do it? Well, he fucking did it, and he did it in a game where we needed a big completion. So it's not funny anymore, and it's scary. It's tough out here being a Chiefs fan right now.
Yeah, do you think we feel bad for you, by the way?
Yeah, so bad. I bet you do. Bad for you. Do you think that the struggles Mahomes is having is based off of TikTok distractions from his brother and just the circus that is surrounding his brother and his wife as of lately, at least on Twitter? So
I don't think so. Yeah. But I mean, it is weird. And I do think that there is probably a lot of stress that comes with it of like, oh my God, my brother dumped a bunch of water on a fan at a game. Like now I have to release a statement about it, or, people are talking shit to my wife at games, and now I have to talk about that. So I don't think that has anything to do with his struggles, but maybe it is something that's in the back of his mind. I don't know. It definitely feels like there's something going on, and I don't want to use the word the yips, but it almost feels like that.
It does feel like that a little bit.
That he sees those wide open throws late, and it's like, oh, I can make it, but then he second guesses himself, and it's it's an overthrow or it's an interception, and maybe the interceptions are what's getting to him too, because for the longest time, I know it's a PFF stat, and that's kind of take that with a grain of salt, but they would always like tweet like he has the most dropped interceptions in the NFL, and I would laugh about it. I'd quote tweet it and be like, what does this even mean? Now I know, because they're not drops anymore. They are real interceptions, and it sucks. Or you'll see a guy like Tyreek. I think he's responsible for 2 of the interceptions because the ball just went right through his hands. And it feels like this is a team where for the past couple of years everything bounced their way, where there was just that enough space on a deep throw or a defensive back dropped a turnover, something happened that the ball just kind of rolled their way. And it's not anymore. It's it's like in baseball, you have guys that come up and make really good contact, but they hit right into the shift. That's what it feels like for the Chiefs. Like they're doing things like they always have, but now the defenses are catching up to it and it's not working.
That's tough that you said that, because Mike and I talked last week, the last part, sorry, about baseball, someone coming up and just hitting line drives right into someone's glove. Because I told Mike, I'm like, we're going to be the Chiefs offensive slump buster. Like, that's what's going to happen. We're going to be the slump buster where it's like Mahomes is one for his last 19 and then he just hits 3 dingers out. You know, it's like, I don't want to be that, but I just feel I'm anticipating that being the case. But Micah, do you want to touch on a little bit about what you think on the Raiders side of the ball, just some advantages we might have? Obviously a terrible loss against the New York Giants, which, Mello, we had to go on the New York Giants podcast within the Pigskin Podcast Network. They're very nice guys, but it was probably the last thing I wanted to do or Micah wanted to do on a Monday. But Micah, you want to talk about the Raiders side of the ball for this game?
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs week is always rough. Because they've always been, awesome and amazing. And so going into this one, it's like, okay, they're kind of like human beings again. And as far as like, they're not, they're not doing great. They're not playing well right now. I think that we've played a lot of good defenses this year and we've shown we've been able to, produce against those defenses. And I'm excited to go against the Chiefs defense that isn't good because I'm hoping that we can get something going. The problem is like Andy said, I think this could very well be a big, like, get right game for the Chiefs. Unfortunately, they need a game to, kind of get things going again. And of course the Raiders are going to be that. So, but I think that they need to be able to spread the ball around like they can do and like they have done before. I think if Josh Jacobs can get going, we saw him start to get going a little bit against the Giants the first half. If they can kind of just play a sound football game. We've seen these games that we're losing, the games that we're playing shitty, like against the Bears, against the Giants, they're just making mistakes and kind of getting in their own way, causing, losing the turnover battle and stuff like that. So I think that, Waller has been very underperforming. Week 1, he balled out. Week 2, he had a good game and people have been able to lock him down ever since. So I think he needs to have a really big breakout game this game. I'm hoping he does. I think we might be able to do that and exploit their defense a little bit. We got lucky the last time that we played them that we were able to cause. I believe it was last, or maybe it was the time before when we actually won last year. But they caused turnovers with Mahomes throwing some interceptions, and somehow I think it was Dalvin Levitt or someone like that almost pick sixed him. But with him kind of causing turnovers, throwing interceptions as of lately, we need to be able to jump on top of that. And I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. I always have so much hope going into games. I try to, at least. But there's always that dread of like, man, we could just very well just get our asses beat. So against the Chiefs, very much possible. I think that they got to just kind of go out there and just play sound football. It doesn't have to be, I don't know if it's going to necessarily need to be like absolute perfect football to beat this team, but if they can just get out of their own way on not having long drives or anything like that, or like in the Giants game we would go down in the red zone and turn the ball over or miss a fucking field goal or something stupid like that.
25-yard field goal, shorter
so,
than an extra point, basically.
I just think that it's interdivision is always wonky. We talked about it many a time. Sunday Night Football, nationally televised games, always wonky games. So it's going to be interesting. I hope we can go out and get a W. I think if there's any time to take advantage of a struggling Chiefs team, now's the time. Strike while the iron's hot. But that right there is the reason we're set up for doom and gloom.
Exactly. Carrie Underwood's going to come on and she's going to say her thing, and then we're going to lose by 40. Like that's what I hate about it. Is like I'm like, I've seen this before, and I've never seen the Raiders actually be 5-3. Many times in my life, but. No, I don't know, man. It's just the Chiefs are good, and I know they haven't been clicking. But Mello, I wanted to ask you, like, as far as and you talked about it a little bit, but as far as the offense and the camaraderie, and then them just missing things that they don't usually miss, is there anything about that foot injury late last year with Mahomes that he's not able to extend plays, but be as dynamic as he has been, or be a little hesitant to escape out of the pocket, or do you think it's just out of sync?
One thing that I've voiced privately and not publicly, because I didn't want anybody else really talking about it and shedding light on it, is I don't think that the foot injury or like the hard hits and, the knee to the head or anything like that. That doesn't really concern me. But one thing that it does, it feels like is affecting the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is he seems a little skittish in the pocket ever since the Super Bowl. When he was running for his life, he was taking a lot of hits, and you saw his eyes come down to where he's not looking downfield as much anymore. And, maybe he's a little worried about the pass rush. And I think that that's still something with his offensive line that they're trying to figure out. Big Country brought it to my attention with Orlando Brown Jr. on the left side. A lot of times he's just pushing guys out of the way to the outside. And I think that really worked for Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson's a guy who would step up in the pocket. And if you could get those pass rushers behind him, he'd take off and he could get 40 yards. But that's not Mahomes' game. So, Orlando Brown's, passing these guys off like, okay, you're too far deep. You're not going to get to my quarterback. But Mahomes isn't a step up in the pocket guy. He's an escape to his right kind of guy, to where he's getting chased down by these defenders. So I almost think that the offensive line is still trying to figure out how to block for him, even with Thuney at left guard, blocking for guys like Tom Brady. Brady's a step up in the pocket kind of guy. And so maybe they're just, still trying to figure it out. They have two rookies on the interior as well, at center and right guard. And then your right tackle just is a revolving door of shitty players. So that's not helping either. But I do think that there's maybe something to the fact that Tampa Bay was really able to get after him and maybe rattle him, that he could still be affected by it this season, to where he's really worried about that pass rush coming through and trying to escape and make plays, where there are times where, I love Patrick Mahomes, but it's almost if he would just sit in the pocket and complete the throw, it's there. There's no reason to escape. There's no reason to do the no look. Like, you almost have to just resort back to like, be boring. Boring's good enough. Boring doesn't turn the ball over. Just like, you don't have to be Superman every time. Like, sometimes just take the little, 10-yard completion, the 5-yard completion, and live to fight another day. It doesn't always have to be escape from the pass rush or, try to make this 30-yard completion.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think some of the concerns, if you want to go all the way back to Texas Tech, which is what some folks saw on film, which not to say that's the reason they missed on them, but I think there was that high risk, high reward aspect of it. And then sometimes things don't click. But once again, I just know what's going to happen on Sunday. So that'll be fun to just roll into Monday with that one. So
you
now
guys are about as pessimist as I am. But from the other side of it, like, I'm worried about the Raiders. I have 3 older brothers. Obviously, you guys know Matt, but my oldest brother is a Raiders fan. So I know that, like, he won't say anything at all until the final score. And then he will talk a lot of shit to me. Or, I don't know what it is about this area. I live in Missouri, but there are a lot of Raiders fans here. Like, I think the Raiders is probably the second most popular team in this area. So it's a very exciting week, but it's stressful. I'm pessimistic about it. And I know that if the Chiefs lose, even probably you guys are going to talk so much shit to me and I'm just going to have to take it, because the Chiefs aren't good this year.
But then we'll have you back on the pod. We'll talk through it. We'll work.
Right.
We'll work. Yeah. No,
if they lose to the Raiders, I might need a therapy session. Just come on.
Yeah.
And just it'll be me laying on a couch. And you guys.
So how does that make you feel, Marshall? You're like, not great.
No, it's not fun. I actually don't like football anymore when my team's losing.
No, I think it's just like, this has been one of the better teams that I've seen in a while, and you can't factor in the off the field stuff, but Mike is talking about shooting yourself in the foot when you get in the red zone. I'm like, we shoot ourselves in the foot between Monday and Saturday. It's like we can't get out of our own way at times. And so with the Gruden stuff, the rug stuff, obviously they're very serious things that happened. But it's just hard. I'm like, can you just chill for a second, guys? Like, can we just relax and just be normal, like a normal organization? Can we be, I don't know, the Dolphins for a little bit, even the whatever, just relax, guys. But that's why it's just hard to, maybe I just like to set my expectations low. I don't know, guys. Okay. Let's just get into, let's just wrap this up for this game, at least. Predictions time. As I mentioned, Chiefs are coming into town Sunday Night Football. Carrie Underwood will be on your screen right around 5:13-ish before Chris Collinsworth slides into Al Michaels. So Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. Micah, let's start with you with your prediction. on the game. What do you think? What's going to happen? Just give us a score. Talk shit to Mello like he said he needs. Things like that.
Well, I think that this is going to, I feel after this Giants game, the Raiders need to get right game. I think on offense, this might help out. If the Chiefs weren't doing as bad this year as they did, I probably would possibly predict them to come out with a W. But I can talk myself into any Raiders win at any point in time, and I think this is the biggest. This is one of the times to strike while the iron's hot, like I said. So I think the Raiders are going to win. I think they're going to win 35-31. It's going to be a close one. Both teams are going to put up points. So hammer that over. I don't even know what the spread is on it, but I can't imagine that it's 36 points or 66 points. So, but
we scored 16 in New York, so I doubt it's over 60.
35-31 Raiders. 51.5 is what I was able to find it at.
Okay.
So even it's still pretty low considering both teams and the offense they've had this year.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with it. I think it'll be a high scoring game. That's how the last two Raiders Chiefs games have gone, and they split on both those games, but they were both high scoring. So going high scoring again, 35-31.
Mello, this is up to you.
I'm going to keep it. I'm going to take the over as well. I'm going to go 31-27. Chiefs win, but it's close. I almost want to make it closer than that. I don't know that we're going to see like a 1 or 2 point game, but the Chiefs are so bad against the spread that I'm not confident, because I know that would be a cover for them. So I almost want to change it. Like maybe we go 28-30 and the Chiefs win that game. But as I've been saying, not very confident. And it's really weird for me too to be, like I said, a bandwagon Chiefs fan. I know that I'm supposed to hate the Raiders, but honestly, like I would be happy to see them win if it weren't any other team. Like, pick any of the other 30 teams, and I'd be rooting for the Raiders, because I just feel so bad for them. Some of those players have put up with so much shit this year that's just out of their hands. They're like Hunter Renfro's just sitting there like, what the hell, man? Like, what did I do to deserve this? I just wanted to come out here, play slot receiver, and maybe make a Pro Bowl with Derek Carr throwing me the ball. Now he's got to put up with this. So I feel bad for him. I won't be like super sad if the Chiefs lose this one, I guess, but I do think they find a way to win on the road in Las Vegas.
Fair enough. Fun fact, Mello, big supporter of the Raiders uniforms, and surprisingly came around on Derek Carr as far as his game and also leadership. He's a man of people.
Field stuff. He seems like he's an actual, he's not up there faking it. There's so many guys that are just up there just faking it and saying whatever they think people want to hear. And I don't know. I don't follow as much Derek Carr content as maybe you guys do, but it seemed pretty legit. He definitely earned more respect from me over the course of the last month.
Yeah, he's always been someone that seemed pretty genuine when he was up there. And, I think that for him, he doesn't necessarily tell people what he wants to hear, but sometimes he won't speak his mind as much. And he's taken that back a little less. He's been a little more fiery when it comes to I don't care about making everybody happy, because that's kind of how it's always felt with him. But he has always been a pretty genuine person, it's nice being, watching him get up in the press conferences and, handle these things the way he's handled them. But he has always been kind of one of those people who are like, you just feel like he's a good dude,
Yeah. His haircut, I mean, we can talk about his haircut another time, but no, he's had to deal with a lot and just be the face of that franchise when you lose your head coach and things like that happen. So I don't envy him by any means, but I'm going to go, I'm sorry guys. I'm going Chiefs 30, Raiders 24. I think the Chiefs cover. I think they win. I just don't, I've been pessimistic about this game the whole time. I don't care what I've seen the last couple of weeks with the Chiefs. I just don't, even if the Raiders ended up winning against New York, I'd probably feel pretty similarly. So I don't know. Hopefully I'm proven wrong. Micah, you're always the optimist of the two of us. And for that, I thank you.